and everyone watching this video. Yeah, it's me, your teacher again, Friday, and in today's video I'll be taking you through elections in Uganda. Social Studies P5. It's me, your teacher, Friday, again in this video. Elections in Uganda. Now, first and foremost, let's first define election. An election is the process of choosing a leader, and this leader might be a political leader, religious leader, cultural leader, to mention but a few. Types of elections held here in Uganda: majorly political elections. We have the presidential elections. We have the local elections, that is Chairperson LC1, Chairperson LC2, 3, 4, and 5. We also have the parliamentary elections. Now, these are the ways how we choose leaders. One, we can choose our leaders through the secret ballot system. Then we can also use the open elections, and we can also use the proxy elections. I'll be talking about these elections one by one. A secret ballot system. This is a system where a voter is given a piece of ballot paper and he or she indicates the choice of the candidates they would wish to vote for. I'm sorry for that noise, but we shall be proceeding. Advantages of the secret ballot system. 1. Voters select leaders without fear. They select leaders without fearing who will be seeing, because this is done secretly. It also saves time of wasting time, and you're lining up and you're counting, head counting. It saves time. So another way, it can be easily monitored by the use of computers. Yes, in a secret ballot system, it can be computerized, and people are able to monitor polling stations, tally centers according to that. Disadvantages of this ballot system. 1, it is very expensive. It is expensive in a way that you will have to print out those ballot papers. You will have to pay the returning officers. You will have to pay the supervisors. Like that. It can also be easily reached. If somebody, just for example, if somebody is in power, is already there in power, so they can go out there and print more ballot papers. Then they schedule a place, and they organize, go there and take a candidate of their choice. Then they bring those ballots at the tally center, and you add them there. So it is easier to reach than the open where everybody is watching. Announcing final results takes time, because you have to count this center, count the other center, then take them to the tally center, and then you announce. But if it is head counting, they will just count, and immediately they announce who the leader will be at that particular time without taking to tally center and whatever. Open elections. A definition about an open election: this is held by either voting, lining up, the candidate stands in front right there, and the voters line up at the back behind this candidate, or raising hands. They sit in a group and raise up their hands. So those who are choosing for somebody, they raise their hands. Those who are not choosing for that particular person, they lower their hands. That is the kind of open election. Advantages of this open election is that results can't be easily reached. How do you reach? Because people are there, everybody is watching. Everybody knows how many people lined right at your back. And for example, you got only 5 people, but now when you're announcing, you say I had 20, and everybody will be questioning how, because they were watching with their own eyes. It is cheap to carry out, since you don't need to go print ballot papers, pay returning officers. No, you just make people stand and count. The illiterates find it easy to take part in it. Yes, these people who are not learned, they will not need to read the names of the candidates because they are seeing them there. They are seeing them right there. They will just stand at their back and then start voting. Okay? I shall be proceeding. A referendum. Referendum is an election organized to decide on a political issue. For example, an issue is raised in the parliament, and somebody says, for somebody to stand as president should be 18 years. And then the member of parliament decide to choose. Those saying should be 18, those who are saying should be below. And they decide which takes more people. It becomes automatically the winning side, and they go by that decision. Okay, that's what we call a referendum, deciding on a political issue, voting to decide on a political issue. Then we have the question, what is a by-election? You hear people talk about by-election. What do you think a by-election is? A by-election is an election held to fill a vacant political post before the term of office expires. To fill a vacant, for example, the president dies. I'm sorry to use that. Anyway, let me use an MP. An MP of a certain constituency dies before the term of office. So they will announce, and a by-election will be organized so that that vacancy that is empty, it is filled with a member of parliament. So that is what we call a by-election. How elections are conducted here in Uganda. 1. Registration of voters, i.e. here you have to first register the voters. Citizens who are 18 years and above are issued with voters card after registration. You go register, then they give you a voters card. Without a voters card, you don't vote. Nomination of candidates. Candidates submit their interests, and then they are nominated. Those who will be shortlisted. Then after that, there is voting. After voting, then there is declaration of results of who the winner and the loser into the elections. We have another guiding question. Why should people choose their own leaders? One is to exercise their democratic rights, like we talked about democracy. In democracy, people have a right to choose leaders of their own choice. To get leaders of their own choice, I talked about that. Another guiding question: which body in Uganda organizes elections? That one everybody knows that it is the Uganda Electoral Commission, the EC. People call it EC, but EC stands in for Electoral Commission. And who is the current chairperson of Electoral Commission? Somebody had put here Badilu Chigundu. No, this one is no longer Chigundu. It is a man, a certain Mnyoroman. A Mnyoroman, yes. The current chairperson Electoral Commission is Justice Simon Yabakama, like you're seeing on the screen right there. Shall be proceeding. Now, these are some of the bad practices during an election. During and before an election, one of the bad practices is giving and receiving bribes. This is common, where the candidates will first pay the voters some money to vote for them. Another bad practice before an election, registering more than once. Somebody will register with 2 names. They come register for the very first time, then they come and register for the second time. But that would happen sometime back before we had got the national IDs. But now that every Ugandan has a national ID, there's no way you can register 2 times. The third way is giving false information during registration. Some people tend to lower their years or hike their age. Some people change their areas of birth according to their tally centers and polling stations. Another one is destroying candidates' posters. It's a very bad act during an election. When you find a poster for a certain candidate, please leave them there the way they are. But some people, because they love some other candidates, they tend to destroy posters of other candidates. Another one is disturbing campaign rallies. Some people, they disturb other candidates when they are campaigning. Some candidates even stop other candidates from campaigning. Some other candidates, since they are in power, they use that authority to use the police to go and disturb the other rallies of other people. Campaigning outside the allowed time. When they say campaigns end at 6, some candidates are not patient. They proceed. They go campaign up to midnight. They go moving house to house during the night. So those are some of the bad practices before the voting time. Now, these are some of the bad practices during the voting time. One, wearing campaign materials such as capes and t-shirts at the polling station. It's not good. Some people, because they belong to this color, they will put on that color when they are going to vote. I will not specify a color anyway. But you know them. You know the blue, you know the red, you know the yellow, you know those colors, and green. So when you're going for an election, don't put on a cloth or a cape that shows that you belong to a certain side, because it is a separate ballot. Nobody wants to know the candidate you will vote for. Campaigning during the voting exercise. Somebody is already at the polling station and they start campaigning. You know, you have to vote for this one. By the time was given, but people don't use that time. They want to go at the polling station and then start campaigning right from there. Voting more than once. Ballot stuffing. Some people, they get access to the ballot papers, then they start voting more than once. Voting for another person. Somebody says, now since I'm busy for you, you go and vote for me, you take my card, you'll vote for me. That's not God. Stealing ballot boxes. Some people steal ballot boxes, take them at their homes, and then they vote from there. And after that, they bring at the tally center, which is not right. Bribing voters near or at the polling station, it is also not good. I talked about bribing voters. It is a very bad practice. Now, these are some of the bad practices after an election. One is misrecording of elections. Somebody has got 0-1 and somebody writes 1-0, which is 10. That is very bad. It's a bad practice after the election time. Another one, attacking a voter who has not voted for a particular candidate. If somebody says, me, I voted for so and so you attack them and you start fighting them, quarreling with them. Why did you vote for so and so? Why didn't you vote for so and so? That is very bad. Then another one, a candidate refusing to accept defeat. They have defeated, but you don't want to admit. You don't want to admit defeat. People continue complaining, go on, they even go to court martial, they go to IGG. I mean, it's good if they have defeated you, please accept and go home and sit down and plan for the next election. Making fun of losers of an election. Some people, you make them a game of play after they have defeated them. Everywhere they are passing, you start laughing at them. That is very bad. Unnecessary delay of announce results. When results are ready, please don't delay with them. Why keep them? Announce the results, then the owners they will be able to know their results and they see how to go forward with that. Okay? Then rioting, I repeat that, rioting, boycotting or striking. After they have either won you or you have won, then you start making strikes, you start making quarrels here and there. That is also not a good practice. Yeah. So we are giving the meanings of the following words which are commonly used in the electoral process. 1. Polling station is the place where voters go to cast their vote. That one you all know. Polling station is a place where voters go to cast their vote. Another word is a ballot paper. It's a special paper used for voting. Yeah, we are proceeding and we are continuing with the meanings of these words which are used in the voting process. Presiding officer. A presiding officer heads all the election activities at a polling station. A ballot box, this is a special box used during elections where we cast our votes. A polling assistant, this is a person who helps the presiding officer at a polling station. Remember, the presiding officer heads the election activities, then he or she is assisted by the polling assistant. A candidate or candidate agent, a representative or candidate at a polling station. If Mugisha Muntu has stood as president, the agent is he who represents Mugisha Muntu at that particular polling station. Then we have the declaration form. These are the forms on which the results from the polling stations are recorded. They are signed by the electoral officials and agents. After the results are filled into the form, these agents, they come and sign and endorse that the results which are there are really true. Then we have the election observers. These are people who see how the election have been conducted, i.e. NGOs, donors, agencies, etc. Voters register. This is a list with names and photographs of the voters. Then a voter's card. It is a document that is given to record a voter. I talked about a voter's card. When you register as a voter, they give you a voter's card. Then we have a police officer in charge of security at the polling station. That one, I don't need to talk about it. Because, you know, this is a police officer who takes charge of security at the polling station. Then we have the returning officer in charge of the district. All those people work at the polling station. Respect for democracy and elections. Respect for democracy requires the following. 1. Respect for election process. You need to respect the election process. By following whatever I've been talking about in the previous, please don't go contrary of any. Respect for the Constitution. If the Constitution states that a person below 18 is not supposed to vote, why go vote? If the Constitution says if you're not registered to vote, you should not vote, why should you go there? Respect for human rights. That is according to democracy. Obeying the laws, like I talked about in those who watch the video about democracy. There's nobody who is above the law. Listening to other people's views and accepting defeat. I talked about it. And somebody asks a guiding question here. Which ministry is the Electoral Commission? So the Electoral Commission is under the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs. I'm still proceeding with the elections. And we have some other guiding questions. State the conditions that can lead to by-election. I had talked about by-election. What can bring about a by-election? When a vote of no confidence is passed for a member. For example, a vote of no confidence is, for example, Tr.Friday is the president of Uganda, and then the parliament sits down and says, no, I think Mr. Friday is not supposed to be the president of this country, and like 90% of the parliamentarians decide that this man should be out, then they cast me out, and then they schedule a by-election and they vote for somebody who is fit. When electoral results have been nullified or cancelled, yes, when a certain constituency votes for a certain person, and then maybe they detect loopholes into the election, and then they nullify or cancel those elections, by-election is conducted. Death of an elected political leader, when maybe a chairperson LOC 5 of a certain district was voted, and that person passes over or dies, then we hold a by-election. When an elected political leader resigns before the term of office is over, when I resign from certain office, for example, I've been a leader at a certain level and I resign, I put down my tools, and a by-election will be conducted to fill my post. When an elected political leader runs mad, or they decide, they see that the way you're behaving, you are insane, then they will have to organize a by-elections. Examples of electoral leaders in Uganda: one is the president, the members of parliament, local council executive, district chairperson. Chairperson LC 5 to mention. Okay, we're proceeding. How is the election of youth member different from MPs? A youth member is elected through electoral colleges, while an MP is elected by adult suffrage. Everybody above 18 is allowed to vote for an MP, but for a youth member is elected by an electoral college. Okay, we shall be proceeding from there. The next video will be about the government of Uganda, but for now I'll be ending this video here, and it was meant to teach about election process in Uganda, and this video was meant for the P5 children of Uganda who are still under lockdown. Thank you for watching this video. I remain your teacher Friday. In case of any question, complaint or query, please, those who are watching via YouTube, comment in the comment section below. And whenever you watch these videos, please remember to subscribe, share. For the parents, share with your fellow parents so that they can also watch this video. I will be uploading videos every week. Every week I will be giving you more and more content so that our children are not left behind. Thank you for watching, and thank you for keeping tuned as your teacher Friday into today's video, and I sign out.